You know what's strange? When people are young, everybody tells them, your best years are ahead of you. But the moment you start getting older, society suddenly changes the conversation. Now it becomes, your time is running out. You're too old for that. Slow down. Your exciting years are over. And after hearing that long enough, some people start shrinking before life even asks them to. But Carl Jung believed something completely different. He believed the second half of life might actually be the most important part, not because your body becomes younger, not because life gets easier, but because for the first time, you finally begin becoming real. And honestly, that changes everything. Because when you're young, most of your life is performance. You're trying to impress people, trying to fit in, trying to survive, trying to prove yourself. You care too much about who texted you back, who likes you, who ignored you, who's doing better than you. Half the time you're exhausted, not because life is hard, but because you're carrying versions of yourself that were never truly you. And the crazy part? Most people don't even realize it until they get older. That's why some older people become calmer, softer, wiser, funniest people in the room, not because they gave up, but because they finally stopped acting. And I want you to really hear this part. Some people peak in attention. Other people peak in peace. And peace is a much richer life. You ever notice how older people who truly know themselves laugh differently? Not fake polite laughs, not social laughs, real laughs, the kind that shake the whole body, the kind that says, I'm no longer trying to impress this world. That freedom, that's powerful. And honestly, a lot of younger people secretly crave that energy, because deep down, people are tired. Tired of competing, tired of pretending, tired of chasing approval from strangers online who don't even care about them. And this is where Jung's wisdom becomes so deep. He said, the afternoon of life cannot be lived according to the program of life's morning. In simple words, the things that worked when you were younger won't satisfy your soul forever. At some point your spirit changes. You stop wanting noise all the time. You stop wanting fake friendships. You stop wanting drama every week. You start protecting your peace like it's treasure. And honestly, it is. Because when you get older, something beautiful happens. You begin seeing what actually matters. Not trends, not status, not showing off. Real things. A calm morning, a healthy body, a quiet home, good sleep, real love, one honest friend. That stuff starts feeling richer than gold. And the funny thing is, younger people often don't believe this yet, because when you're younger, excitement feels more important than peace. But later, peace becomes the luxury. You start realizing some of the richest moments in life look incredibly simple. Sitting outside after rain, hearing birds in the morning, a deep conversation at night, laughing until your stomach hurts, cooking slowly, walking without rushing. That's when life stops being a race and starts becoming an experience. And honestly, that may be the real success everybody was looking for the whole time. Now let me say something a little uncomfortable. A lot of people are terrified of aging because they built their identity around being admired. Youth gets attention fast. But wisdom? Wisdom gets respect slowly. And some people never learned how to live without attention. That's why aging feels painful to them. But Jung believed aging could actually bring you closer to your true self, because the masks begin falling apart. You stop pretending to be strong all the time. You stop pretending to be happy all the time. You stop pretending you have life figured out. And weirdly enough, that honesty makes people feel more human. More attractive too. Have you noticed that? Some older people become magnetic, not because they look younger, not because they're trying hard, but because they finally feel comfortable inside themselves. That energy is rare. And people can feel it immediately. You can walk into a room and instantly tell who's still desperate for validation and who has finally made peace with themselves. One energy feels heavy, the other feels calming. And honestly, calm people are powerful because calm is expensive. It usually comes from pain, experience, loss, healing, reflection. Nobody becomes deeply peaceful without surviving something first. That's why older years matter so much. They hold your lessons. Not the fake motivational quotes, real lessons. The kind life forces into your bones, like learning that not everybody who smiles at you loves you, learning that money matters. But peace matters too, learning that some people only appreciate you after losing you, learning that time is more valuable than pride, and maybe the biggest lesson of all. You don't actually need to win every argument to live a beautiful life. Woo. That one alone saves people years of stress, because younger energy often wants to prove itself constantly. Older wisdom starts asking, is this even worth my peace? That question changes everything. And you know something funny? The older people who enjoy life the most are usually not the people desperately trying to be young again. They're the people who fully accept where they are. They still laugh, still dance, still joke around. But they're not fighting reality anymore. And there's something deeply beautiful about that. You know what makes some older people glow? It's not expensive creams. It's not pretending to be 22 forever. It's emotional lightness. Some people literally look younger because they stopped carrying unnecessary emotional weight. No more fake friendships. No more proving themselves every second. No more chasing people who don't care. Stress ages people faster than birthdays ever will, and some people finally become free later in life. That freedom changes their whole face, their whole energy. You can literally see peace in someone's eyes. And honestly, I think society lies about aging because peaceful people are harder to control. Think about it. When you're insecure, you buy more things trying to fix yourself. When you fear aging, industries make billions from your fear. When you constantly compare yourself, you never feel enough. But somebody who accepts themselves, that person becomes dangerous to the system, because now they choose things differently. They slow down, they stop performing, they stop begging for approval, and suddenly, life becomes lighter. Now don't get me wrong, getting older is not always easy. There are lonely moments, painful moments, moments where you look back and wish you had done certain things differently. Everybody has those thoughts sometimes. Everybody, even the strongest people. But one beautiful thing about later years is this. You finally understand nobody escapes mistakes, not one person. The people who looked perfect online, they suffered too. The people who acted confident, they cried too. The people who seemed ahead in life, they got lost too. And once you realize that, you stop being so harsh on yourself. That softness is healing, because some people spend their entire youth punishing themselves for being human, and that's exhausting. Jung believed that becoming whole mattered more than becoming perfect. And honestly, I wish more people heard that earlier, because perfection is a prison. You can never fully relax inside perfection. You're always scared of failing, scared of looking weak, scared of disappointing people. But wholeness means accepting every part of yourself. The confident side, the insecure side, the strong side, the emotional side. That's real maturity, not pretending you're above human emotions. And can we talk about something for a second? Older people become incredible storytellers. Seriously. Because they've actually lived, not just consumed content all day, not just scrolled endlessly. They've experienced heartbreak, survival, love, loss, recovery, regret, second chances. That gives depth to a person. That's why sometimes one conversation with an older person can calm your entire soul. Their energy says, "I survived things you can't even see." That wisdom carries weight. And honestly, I think younger people should spend more time listening to older people instead of only listening to influencers online. Because real wisdom rarely screams for attention, it speaks quietly. And maybe that's another reason older years matter so much. You finally stop confusing noise for truth. You start noticing who genuinely cares, who drains you, who only calls when they need something, who disappears when life gets hard. Your vision sharpens emotionally. And honestly, that emotional clarity is one of life's greatest gifts. Because confusion is exhausting. When you're younger, you often ignore red flags because you want connection so badly. Later in life, peace becomes more important than forced relationships. You stop begging people to stay. That alone changes your entire emotional health. Now, here's something people don't say enough. Some people become happier after 60 than they ever were at 25, and society almost never talks about that. But it's true. Some people finally discover themselves later. They finally travel, finally rest, finally create art, finally start saying no, finally stop living for everybody else. Sometimes older years are not decline, sometimes they're liberation. And honestly, that's inspiring, because it means life is not over just because one chapter ended. You are allowed to reinvent yourself. At 40, at 60, at 70. Your soul does not expire because society became obsessed with youth. And let's be real for a second. Half the people pretending to have life figured out are confused too. They just hide it better. That's why older people who become authentic feel refreshing. No fake image, no exhausting performance, just realness. And realness is becoming rare these days. Everybody is trying to brand themselves now. But older wisdom often says, "I'm tired of branding myself. I just want to live." That sentence alone feels peaceful. And maybe some of you watching this right now needed to hear that. You don't have to spend your whole life proving your worth. You already have worth. Even without applause. Even without perfection. Even without everybody understanding you. That truth becomes clearer with age. And honestly, that realization can save years of emotional suffering. Now let me tell you something funny. A lot of younger people are obsessed with looking older. Until they actually get older. Then suddenly they panic. Humans are strange like that. We spend years rushing through life, then later wishing we slowed down. That's why wisdom matters. Wisdom teaches timing. It teaches presence. It teaches you how to enjoy moments before they disappear. Because one day the loud house becomes quiet. One day the kids grow up. One day the busy years pass. And suddenly you realize. Life was happening during the ordinary moments too. Not just the big achievements. That realization hits deep. And honestly, I think older people cry more over memories than failures. Memories are powerful. A smell, a song, an old photo. Boom. Suddenly, you're emotionally time-traveling, and that's another hidden beauty of aging. Your life becomes rich with emotional meaning. You carry entire worlds inside your memory. That's beautiful. Painful sometimes, but beautiful. Now I know somebody watching this is probably thinking, okay, but what if I feel scared of getting older? That fear is normal, but maybe the goal is not to avoid aging. Maybe the goal is to age awake instead of asleep. To become deeper instead of bitter. Kinder instead of colder. More alive instead of more fearful. Because some people grow older physically, but never grow internally. And that's the real tragedy. Jung believed life was about becoming who you truly are, not who society programmed you to be. And honestly, that process takes time. A lot of time. That's why older years matter so much. You finally begin separating your real self from the version created for survival. And wow, that process can feel emotional. Sometimes you realize you spent years trying to earn love instead of simply receiving it. Sometimes you realize you abandoned yourself just to keep other people comfortable. Sometimes you realize the whole world taught you to perform, but never taught you how to rest. That realization changes people deeply. And you know what's beautiful? It's never too late to reconnect with yourself. Never. You can still laugh harder, love deeper, speak honestly, create something meaningful. Enjoy small moments again. Life is not finished because you have wrinkles. Wrinkles are proof you survived time. And honestly, that's kind of amazing when you think about it. Every line on a face tells a story. Stress, love, loss, joy, resilience. Human life leaves marks. That's not ugliness. That's evidence of living. And maybe one of the saddest things modern culture did was convince people to be ashamed of looking human. But human faces are beautiful because they carry life inside them. Perfection is forgettable. Realness stays with people. That's why some older people become unforgettable. Their energy becomes warmer, more grounded, more alive. You feel safe around them. And honestly, safe energy is rare. Now let's talk about loneliness for a second, because this part matters too. Some older people struggle with feeling forgotten, and if that's you watching this, hear me clearly. Your value did not disappear because the world became distracted. Your story matters, your presence matters, your wisdom matters. Sometimes one conversation with the right person can change their entire life. Never underestimate the impact of your experience. You survived things that could help somebody else survive too. That matters. And honestly, younger generations need more real guidance right now. Not fake perfection. Not endless flexing online. Real humanity. That's why authentic older voices are important. They remind people life is deeper than trends. Now before we continue, if this video is touching something real inside you, drop a comment below. I really want to know, what lesson has getting older taught you so far? Some of these comments honestly become therapy sessions for everybody reading them. And if you're younger, watching this, tell me one thing older people taught you that changed your perspective on life. I love reading those. And hey, if you're enjoying this conversation, support me with a coffee if you enjoyed this video. Seriously, thank you for being here and spending this time with me. Now here's another thing nobody tells you about getting older. Your intuition becomes sharper. You start sensing energy faster. You notice fake kindness quicker, manipulation quicker, dishonesty quicker. Not because you became negative, because experience trained your spirit. That's wisdom. And wisdom is expensive. It costs years, mistakes, heartbreak, reflection. That's why wise people usually speak slower. They understand how powerful words can be. And honestly, silence becomes more attractive with age too. Not awkward silence, peaceful silence. The kind where you no longer feel pressured to fill every second with noise. That's emotional maturity. Being able to sit quietly without panicking. And wow, that skill changes relationships completely. Because calm people create calm environments. Now let me say something some people may not like. Aging exposes what was already inside you. Bitter people often become more bitter. Kind people often become softer. Peaceful people become even more calming. That's why inner work matters. Your later years amplify your inner world. And honestly, that's why healing matters now, not later. Because unresolved pain doesn't magically disappear with time. But healed people become light for others. You can feel it around them. Their presence relaxes people. Their words comfort people. Their laughter feels genuine. That energy is priceless. And maybe that's the true beauty of aging, not becoming younger again, but becoming more you, fully, honestly, peacefully, no mask, no performance, no exhausting pretending, just truth. And truth has a different kind of beauty, a deeper beauty, the kind that doesn't disappear overnight. So if you've been afraid of getting older, maybe don't see it as losing life, maybe see it as uncovering life, layer by layer. And maybe your best years are not the loudest years. Maybe they're the years where your soul finally relaxes, the years where you stop chasing everybody else's definition of success. The years where you finally wake up and think, I don't need to prove anything today, I just want to live. That feeling right there. That might be one of the richest feelings a human being can experience. And honestly, I think that's what Jung was trying to tell us all along, that the second half of life is not meant to be smaller, it's meant to be deeper. And deeper lasts longer than attention ever will. So wherever you are in life right now, 20s, 40s, 60s, 70s, don't rush your existence trying to become acceptable to everybody else. You were never meant to live as a performance. You were meant to become whole. And sometimes, that journey only truly begins later in life. So take a deep breath tonight, slow down a little. Call somebody you love, laugh more, protect your peace. Stop apologizing for growing older. You are not disappearing, you are becoming, and that might be the most beautiful part of life.